Hey everybody, Jerry Williams, aka Greater Sapien here. Thanks for stopping by. Oh man, I've been traveling for work and I was just too busy last week to make a recap video. I'm currently in Norfolk, Virginia, a ways away from my home in Oakland, and this is my first night that I've stopped working before midnight. Lucky for me, it's Thursday, the 27th, and Severance Season 2, Episode 7 is on tonight. So what I'm going to do is record a watch-along of Episode 7, Chikhai Bardo. If you haven't seen it, feel free to pull it up in another window and watch it with me. But first, a super brief recap of Episode 6, Attila. We start off with Mark recounting his reintegration vision to Dr. Rahabi. And he wonders what Lumen is doing with his wife. Ragabi says that Gemma is essential to Lumen. Back on the severed floor, Dylan tells the team about Irving's drawing of the export hall and the elevator that only goes down. But he doesn't want to tell them why he put the note, the little map, back behind the poster. Dylan is obviously concerned about losing his visitation privileges with his Audi's wife. And Mark has a brief reintegration flash with time blending between his Innie and Audi selves. Milchick has a check-in with Miss Wong, and he all but says, I know you're talking shit about me, and I can ruin your career. Mark, having been threatened by Milchick last episode, pulls the bandage off and tells Helly that he and her Audi Helena had sex, initially saying that they shared vessels. It's hard to shake that Kier cult training. Helly takes it as a bit of a blow, but then comes around and says she's mostly mad that Helena got to have something with Mark that instead of she did, and hey, how about we know, bow chicka bow bow, and Mark says, duh. Let's see, Milchick is taking his performance review to heart and paperclipping until his handshake and berating himself to speak more directly, less flourishing in his terms. This was a very harsh scene to watch for me because I see Milchick's use of language as a survival mechanism, something he probably started doing in his teens or early 20s in order to be taken more seriously in a world where Black people are underrepresented. Dylan has another visit with his Audi's wife, and it's clear the chemistry is there between them. I think Dylan reminds her of what Audi Dylan was like before the world and missed opportunities broke him. This is the Dylan that she fell for. She's kind of having an affair with her own husband. Let's see, after their time knocking boots, Mark gets a nosebleed, a side effect of the reintegration. And while Miss Wong is checking him out, he has another reintegration flash that time jumps us to his Audi self. Then Irving, and this is a big story in the whole episode, Irving has dinner with Bert G and his husband, and it's awkward as hell. And Bert and Irving have obvious chemistry, and Bert's husband, Fields, is threatened by it. Fields, and to a lesser degree, Bert, is very religious and concerned about Bert not going to heaven with him. They seem to think Severance actually bifurcates the soul, and so a pure any soul has the ability to go to heaven. It seems having an affair with Irving may have screwed that up. How much of this Bert actually believes is unclear, as Bert's true relationship with Lumen is. There was some dispute over how long Bert was involved with Lumen, Fields claiming that Bert was with Lumen a full 10 years before Severance was publicly known, and mentions Bert having a Lumen partner. Meanwhile, Mr. Drummond, the human wall who has the power to tell Helena what to do, is going into Irving's apartment and seeing all the info he's gathered. How does Drummond know Irving's going to be out for a while? Why is he doing that? Part of me is suspicious of Bert, because the timing is suspicious, and mainly because it's Christopher Walken. But Bert seems to be keeping secrets, and I don't really trust him at the moment. Then Helena shows up at the diner and chats up Mark, using the fact that she knows him intimately to her advantage. But she crosses a line with him in a way that pushes him to accelerate the reintegration process, which Mark and Ragabi do, but Mark has complications and collapses in his kitchen, and that brings us up to speed. And now we're going to watch episode 7, Chikhai Bardo. I'll probably find out how to pronounce that during the episode. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to play the episode with a blurry version showing on the screen. Every so often it will clear up and sound will play, so you'll know if you are in sync if you're watching along. I will comment as I go and hopefully not get too wrapped up in it and have long pauses of silences, long gaps of silence. I'm going to try not to pause playing so that this can be done in one take. Okay. So, are you ready? Get your episode queued up and immediately pause because I'm going to sit through the ads and recaps and everything. Okay, I'm all set. I've got my drink here. I've got the leftover from my dinner, maybe a little dessert over there. Get toward the end of the episode. And I'm ready to hit go. So, I hope you're queued up and we're going to get this started. Stay tuned after the credits. Okay. All right. So I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of Casey in here and maybe even go back and talk to that woman at the pregnancy place since they brought them up in the preview. Here we go. An Apple original. 5th season production. All righty, going back in time. Back when she was a teacher.
What do you got there? Sorry, what do you got there?
Themes of religious conversion in Tolstoy's The Death of Ivan Ilyich.
Oh my God, spoiler alert, please.
Well, hello.
Gemma, where did you go?
I like how they were playing that. Did we hop forward and now we were dealing with Miss Casey, or we're still with Gemma? Now we're forward. Tell her.
What he wants is to know whether Gemma's alive or not. Please don't mess with me.
She is.
Okay. I like Devin. She's just straight ahead. They write her well, and she's very consistent. Okay. Intro. I'm not going to skip it. Take a moment to go get a break, go get it something to drink. So, question. There's a lot of connection between Gemma and giving blood and then having blood drawn at another time. So it kind of makes you think that, okay, she was doing a blood donation. Maybe she found out that she had a blood disorder or something. And so later on she was getting some work done. Given the area that they work in, the location, maybe Lumen is involved in a lot of the medical procedures that go on in there. Maybe she was connected with them in terms of having a medical procedure done, and they found something out about her. I'm just speculating as I go here to fill in time, but maybe there was a relationship with her and Lumen before she died. Okay, see, Lumen's involved with everything.
You've eaten today, honey?
Yes.
Freaking Lumen with their, what is that, E-meter type thing from Scientology? Is there woe in levels? So weird. Okay. Is this concurrent? Okay. That is not that distant a past. Allentown. What the hell? She have to go to different places? Drainsville? Ooh, I wonder if one of them is that spot that Miss Cobell was not going to go to. She started driving toward and she turned around. Okay, Wellington. She's got a Miss Casey-like haircut, but it's not Casey. So she's this is so much like Dollhouse. She goes through a door and she's a different person. They've got a different personality for every location she goes to. It's messed up, people. And here's the guy that's going to do dental work. That last episode at the very beginning was picking up dental tools, something. Why does this guy not look like a regular dentist?
Open wide, please.
It's with this camera view too. And there's Cold Harbor. All right, so it's concurrent. I was concurrent. Nice parallel to Severance there. Someone nervous.
Oh.
It's an ant farm.
Huh. I really like the way this is shot.
Really, truly wasn't that bad.
For you, that's because you can scale walls like a gecko. It was like half a mile of just exposed rock face.
Sounds fun.
Gotta say, they've done a lot of really good character work to really feel like these people know each other. It's been really good. I think I said in the first episode that I did a recap on that there's something about the tragic history of Miss Casey, and this is just reinforcing that. This is not good. Yeah. Nice. That's cool. You are being watched. Yeah, of course. Of course she is. I bet you think strippers actually like you. What the hell? It's just hilarious that has this going on with her after having played a doll in Dollhouse. It's essentially what she is. Yep, there's dude. Wasn't that that doctor dude?
It's the next step for a lot of people.
Yeah, man, they did some genetic testing on her and decided they're going to get her. Oop. All right, somebody pause this and tell me what's going on. Yeah, they were prepping her for something else. There's the screen.
How many rooms did you visit today?
6.
This dude, freaking vampire, man.
So I'll see Mark.
Yeah, because you didn't answer the goddamn question. How did you get in this situation, girl?
You two are definitely related.
Damn right. Raised by them.
Chikhai Bardo. I don't know. It looks like two guys fighting.
No, it's the
Oh, hey.
same guy fighting
Chikhai
himself,
Bardo.
defeating his own psyche.
Mm. So she's willing to go the extra mile to try to have this kid. And he's like, I'm good with you. We're good. She got in bed with the devil. So was she participating in faking her own death? What was up with that? Mm.
It's okay. This is perfectly normal. Let's get you set up with that meal.
Bunch of freaks. Good question. You wore it because you think she likes it. Where are you going that you need to look like that? Mm-hmm. Oh, crowding. Why aren't you doing any, honey?
It's actually a decrowder. But close enough.
You little freak. She's supposed to be your test subject or scientific experiment, and you're getting all freaking pervy with her. You're not handy. Dude, stop it. Just trying to make himself look good just for a second there. She wouldn't have anything to do with you, fool.
I don't believe you.
You've been gone a long time, Gemma.
No. All right. Could have had a little better wind up on that, but. Okay. Unexpected turn. Still got 10 minutes of show left or something like that. What room are you at? What happens if you go in Cold Harbor? What is this going to do? Is it what kind of? She went into the Miss Casey elevator.
Or I could stay.
No, you should probably go. I mean, this thing's got to be in tonight anyway, so.
That fool came running down. He's still got his motorcycle coat on.
How long have I been?
If you wouldn't mind turning around and heading back in, it would be greatly appreciated.
Messed up. That fool didn't even have a chance to take off his coat. got in an accident on the night that he didn't go with her. Yeah. Accident. Sandra Bernhardt. Is that Sandra Bernhardt? Should have kicked her straight in the chest. Messed up. I was going to say, I hope it doesn't end on that note. Jeez.
Mark. Where'd you go?
Are they going to pan and have freaking Disco Bell sitting over there? Okay, that's the end of that episode. All right, there's a lot in there, and man, oh man, the tragedy that is Miss Casey. It is just compounded. It's going to take a while to, like I said, it's going to take a minute to process that. But it was a good episode, but it was not fun. That one was painful, I have to say. Okay, so now it is Friday morning, and I've had a chance to process this episode a bit. I think the placement of this episode and the content of it was very interestingly placed in that up until now, Mark's relationship with Gemma was just kind of ephemeral. You know, Mark is very depressed and he's a dark person, and so he's talked about his love for his wife, but it wasn't really a real thing except for the tragedy of the loss was real. But the real relationship we did have was Mark's relationship with Helly. And I think at this point in the story, we as an audience are much more committed to Mark's continuing relationship with Helly than Mark's relationship with Gemma. Much like with Dylan and his Audi's wife. I can't remember her name at the moment. We are now starting to think, these guys are really good together. It might be better if any Dylan and his wife were together as opposed to Audi Dylan, because we're committed to that relationship a little bit more, and we've seen Audi Dylan and he's kind of a loser. And so with Mark, I think there's a similar imbalance happening at this point in the show, up to this point in the show. We were really committed to Helly and Mark's relationship. We just in a previous episode had this reconnection of these lost companions. And so now I think it's interestingly timed that this show has said, hey, let's not forget about Mark and Gemma and what was lost there. Instead of just being this theoretical, ephemeral, supposedly great relationship, we got to experience the chemistry and the passion they had for each other and the kind of person that Mark was before Gemma's death. It's reflected in the imagery and the sequences with Gemma that were much more colorful. That was a world that had flowers and green grass and sunlight versus the world of Severance right now, which is perpetually winter. And now we get to see what Mark has lost. And it throws a little monkey wrench in there. It's like, oh, whose relationship is the real relationship? Which one should we be committed to? Because Mark and Helly's relationship is true and honest, and it's a valid relationship, but Mark and Gemma was as well. And now that we can see that romance, that love that was there, and the loss that happened, and we also see that Gemma is still committed to Mark, there's a whole bunch of things that are thrown together. And there's a whole bunch of other questions in there, like how did she get in this situation, really? And what aren't we being told, and what is she not being told about why she is there? But we also see that her participation isn't wholly voluntary, and that she's still committed to Mark and believes that Mark is committed to her and is trying her best to get to him. So yeah, I think it's very interestingly timed for them to bring this episode here, just to say, don't get too comfortable with Mark and Helly. Gemma is still there. And she's still there, and her and Mark are still real. So yeah, otherwise, I think it was a great episode. Shot really well. Some of the stuff that they were doing in terms of the kind of stuff that looks like it was shot on film, and the cinematography, the editing as well. They have this kind of emotional pacing really well done, and kind of emotional parallels that they showed between Mark as he's kind of crossing over from a good life to learning Gemma's death and the darkness kind of overtaking him and becoming the Mark that we know now. Paralleling that of Gemma's attempt to escape, which is a current event, and her crushing defeat and the sense of loss that she has when she realizes that she's still trapped there, and that parallel was really well done. Once again, I don't know where this show is going ultimately. I wonder what tests were being done. You guys have any speculation on what testing was being done? What data is being gathered from her with these little e-meter type configurations and stuff that was being processed, and to what goal? The doctor, who was played by Robbie Benson, by the way, was saying to her that she was going to be out of there soon, but he didn't give the impression that she would be herself. He talked about her returning to the world, but there was a tone that didn't sound like he was talking about her returning as herself. Like somehow she was part of this attempt to bring Keir back or something. And then there's the fact that there were all these different rooms that were doing all these different weird scenarios that were like, she was like a gymnastics athlete with this weird looking trainer who, played by Benson, who he looks like he's like from the 70s, and then there's this perpetual Christmas scene, and then the dental situation, and all the different configurations she was put into to stress her out or whatever to get more data. It's very interesting. And it makes me wonder what's happening on the other Lumen severed floors, if there are similar people in similar testing situations with gathering data going on. So anyway, some questions answered, and more questions brought up. If you have any theories, let me know. Thanks for hanging out, and I will talk to you next week. Take care, everybody. Peace.